Everything changed on a cold morning in their 5th week together. Ji-won arrived at breakfast with fear written clearly on her face. Her hands shook as she set down her tablet. "We have a problem," she said quietly. "A big one." They gathered around her. On the tablet was a classified military order, something Ji-won had obtained through her intelligence network contacts. The document was marked with the Empress's personal seal. "What is it?" Hana asked, though she already felt dread building in her stomach. "An execution order," Ji-won said, "for Tae-hyun. It's scheduled for 3 days from now. The Empress has decided he's too dangerous to keep alive. She's going to claim he tried to escape and was killed by guards during the attempt. His body will be returned to Earth as proof of his death." The room went silent. Tae-hyun took the tablet and read the order carefully. His face remained calm, but his jaw tightened. "She's also ordering you all to be separated," Ji-won continued. "Hana will be sent to govern a remote colony world. Sora will be reassigned to a military research facility in another sector. Mina will be placed with a different noble family. Ari will be sent to a cultural center far from the capital. And she swallowed hard, I'm to be executed as well for providing false intelligence reports." "She knows," Sora said. "She's known for a while. She's been waiting for the right moment to act." "How did you get this?" Hana demanded. "I still have one friend in intelligence who's loyal to me personally, not to the Empress," Ji-won explained. "She risked everything to get me this warning." "We have 3 days. 3 days to do what?" Mina asked. "We can't fight our way out of the palace. Even if we reached a ship, the entire fleet would hunt us down." "We contact Earth's fleet," Tae-hyun said firmly. "We tell them what's happening. We force a confrontation before the Empress can execute her plan." "That would start a war," Hana protested. "There's already going to be a war," Tae-hyun replied. "The moment the Empress kills me and sends my body back to Earth, my people will attack. They'll assume the trial was a trap. Every ship, every weapon, everything humanity has built will be thrown at the Empire. Millions will die on both sides. Then what do we do?" Ari asked desperately. Tae-hyun stood and began pacing, his mind working through possibilities. "We need to get to a communication hub. A real one, not the old relay station. We need to contact both Earth's fleet and broadcast a message across the Empire's public networks. We expose what's happening. We show that the Empress is breaking her own laws, murdering a trial victor, executing her own daughter's attendants. Public opinion won't stop her," Sora argued. "No, but it will force the Council to act. The Council members care about law and tradition, even if the Empress doesn't. If we can prove she's violated the sacred trial of supremacy laws, they'll have to respond. The main communication hub is in the palace's central tower," Hana said slowly, thinking. "It's heavily guarded. We'd never reach it, unless we had help," Ji-won said. "I know people. Not many, but a few who are tired of the Empress's methods. Military officers who value honor. Scientists who want peace. If we can convince them to help." "It's incredibly risky," Sora warned. "So is sitting here waiting to die," Mina countered. She looked at Tae-hyun. "You saved our lives during the assassination attempt. Time to return the favor. I'm in." One by one, they all agreed. They had less than 3 days to plan and execute the most dangerous action of their lives. Ji-won contacted her allies carefully, using old intelligence codes and meeting in person when possible. She found 3 military officers willing to help, mid-ranking commanders who had grown disillusioned with constant expansion wars. She also recruited 2 scientists from Sora's former research team who believed in peaceful cooperation with other species. Hana reached out to one council member, an elderly noble named Kwan who had known her since childhood. She told him everything, taking a huge risk. Kwan listened carefully, his old face grave. "If what you say is true, the Empress has gone too far," he said finally. "But I cannot act on words alone. I need proof. Broadcast where the Council and the people can see it. Can you do that?" "We're going to try," Hana promised. Their plan was desperate but simple. On the morning of the 2nd day, they would stage a medical emergency. Tae-hyun would pretend to collapse, apparently poisoned. In the confusion of getting him to the medical center, their military allies would create a diversion at the guard stations. They would have a narrow window, maybe 15 minutes, to reach the communication hub and broadcast their message. The night before, they couldn't sleep. They sat together in the main room, talking quietly. "I want you all to know," Tae-hyun said, "if this goes wrong, don't sacrifice yourselves for me. The important thing is stopping the war. If I die but you survive and can get the truth out, that's enough. Absolutely not, Mina said firmly. We're a team. We survive together or not at all. She's right, Hana added. We've become something more than what the bonding law created. We're family now. Strange, impossible family, but real. Ari was crying softly. I never thought I'd care this much about a human. No offense. None taken, Taehyun said gently. I never thought I'd care this much about Valkyries nobles. Funny how life works. Sora pulled out a data crystal. I've been working on something. Design schematics that combine human and Valkyries technology. Ship designs, weapon systems, medical advances. If we survive this, if we somehow create peace between our peoples, I want these designs to be part of the cooperation. Proof that together we can build something better than either of us can alone. You're an optimist, Ji-won said with a slight smile. I'm a scientist, Sora corrected. I deal in possibilities, and peace is possible if we're brave enough. Morning came too quickly. Taehyun ate a small amount of food, then began his performance. He stumbled, grabbed his stomach, and collapsed. Hana screamed for guards. Medical teams rushed in. The suite erupted into controlled chaos. As planned, their military allies arrived to help escort Taehyun to the medical wing. The group moved quickly through the palace corridors. At the third checkpoint, the diversion happened. An explosion, small but loud, detonated in the western wing. Not enough to hurt anyone, but enough to draw guards away. They ran. Hana led them through servant corridors she had learned as a child. Sora disabled security cameras as they passed. Mina took point, ready to fight if they encountered resistance. Ji-won covered their rear. Ari carried the data crystals with their evidence. They reached the communication hub to find it guarded by 6 soldiers. Before violence could erupt, one of the guards stepped forward. It was Commander Byung, one of Ji-won's recruited allies. Quickly, he said, opening the door. You have maybe 10 minutes before the Empress realizes what's happening. Sora went to work immediately, her fingers flying across the control panels. Taehyun set up the recording equipment. Hana organized the evidence they would present. We're live, Sora announced. Broadcasting on all channels empire-wide. Every screen, every device, everyone can see us. Hana took a breath and began speaking. She explained the trial's outcome, the bonding law, their weeks together. She showed the execution order with the Empress's seal. She explained how the Empress planned to murder Taehyun and scatter the attendants to prevent them from revealing the truth. Then Taehyun spoke, addressing both his own people and the Valkyrie citizens. I came to your empire seeking justice for my people. I fought your champion and won, following your laws. In return, I found not enemies but partners. These 5 women have shown me that Valkyries and humans are not so different. We both want peace, safety, and a future for our families, but your Empress wants war. She's willing to break sacred laws, to commit murder, to start a conflict that will kill millions of your citizens and mine. Ari displayed Sora's technical designs. This is what cooperation looks like. Technology that combines our strengths, medical advances that help both species, ship designs that could change space travel. All of this is possible if we choose peace. Mina spoke next, her warrior's voice strong and clear. I hated humans. I lost family in border conflicts. But I've learned that we were fighting each other because our leaders wanted us to, not because we're natural enemies. Every drop of blood spilled in this war enriches the powerful while the rest of us suffer. Ji-won revealed her identity as an intelligence operative. I've served the Empress my entire adult life. I've lied, spied, and betrayed others for her. But I draw the line at murdering innocents and starting an unjust war. I call on every other intelligence officer, every soldier, every citizen who values truth. Demand better from your leaders. Finally, Sora spoke about the future. We have a choice. War, which benefits no one but those who profit from conflict, or peace, which opens up possibilities neither of our species can imagine alone. I know which future I choose. The broadcast lasted 8 minutes. As it ended, alarms began blaring throughout the palace. They had been discovered. Guards poured into the communication hub, weapons ready. But Commander Byung and his soldiers stepped in front of Taehyun's group, their own weapons raised. Stand down, Byung ordered his fellow guards. These people have committed no crime. They've only told the truth. They're traitors, the guard captain snarled. No, came a voice from the doorway. Council member Kwan entered, followed by 4 other council members. Princess Hana sat in the royal viewing box, her hands folded neatly in her lap. She wore the deep blue robes of the imperial family, and her face showed no emotion. Around her sat her 4 attendants, young women who had served her since childhood. Sora sat to her right, her sharp eyes watching everything below. Mina stood behind them, her hand resting on her ceremonial blade. Ari held a recording device documenting the event. G1 sat quietly in the corner, observing as she always did. Below them stretched the grand combat arena, a massive circle of white stone that had seen 1,000 battles. Today, thousands of citizens filled the seats, their voices creating a low rumble of excitement. They had come to watch another easy victory for the Empire. "This will not take long," Sora said quietly. "The humans are foolish to challenge us." Hana nodded slightly. She had read the reports about humanity. They were a young species from a small planet called Earth. Their ships were primitive. Their technology was centuries behind the Velkari's empire. Yet they had dared to complain about border violations. They had demanded compensation. The Empire's response was simple: prove your worth in the arena or submit. The massive gates on the far side of the arena opened. Kralthorn emerged and the crowd roared. He stood 3 meters tall in his combat exosuit, a machine of black metal and purple energy shields. Weapons covered his arms and shoulders. He had fought in the Trial of Supremacy 300 times. He had never lost. Many of his opponents had not survived. "The Breaker of Worlds," Mina said with approval. "This human will be lucky to last 1 minute." The opposite gates opened. A single figure walked out and the crowd's roar turned to laughter. The human was small compared to Kralthorn. He wore simple gray armor with no powered systems. He carried no visible weapons. He walked to the center of the arena calmly, like he was taking a morning walk. "That's their champion?" Ari asked, zooming in with her recorder. "He looks so ordinary." Hana studied the human carefully. He was young, perhaps in his late 20s by human standards. His dark hair was cut short. His face was calm, but his eyes moved constantly, taking in every detail of the arena and his opponent. He showed no fear. The arena master's voice boomed across the space. "This is the Trial of Supremacy. The human colony of New Sol has challenged the Velkari's Empire's territorial claim. Their champion, Taehyun of Earth, will face our champion, Kralthorn, the Breaker of Worlds. The law is clear. If the human falls, their representatives will serve the victor's people for life as bonded partners. If our champion fall..." The arena master paused and the crowd laughed. The idea was ridiculous. "Then our representatives will serve the humans." Hana felt a small flicker of unease. She was here as the Empire's representative. If the impossible happened, if Kralthorn somehow lost, then she and her 4 attendants would be bound to this human. But such a thing could never happen. Kralthorn was unstoppable. "Begin," the arena master shouted. Kralthorn charged immediately. His massive feet shook the ground. His shoulder-mounted plasma cannons powered up, glowing with deadly energy. The distance between the 2 fighters vanished in seconds. The human named Taehyun moved. He didn't run away. Instead, he ran forward directly at the charging monster. At the last possible moment, he dropped and slid across the smooth arena floor. Kralthorn's plasma shots passed through empty air where Taehyun had been standing. The crowd gasped. Taehyun came out of his slide behind Kralthorn and immediately rolled left. The massive warrior spun, swinging a blade of pure energy. It missed by centimeters. Taehyun was already moving again. "He's fast," Sora observed, leaning forward. "Fast won't be enough," Mina replied. "He cannot hurt Kralthorn through that armor." For 2 full minutes, Taehyun did nothing but dodge. He moved like water, flowing around every attack. Kralthorn's strikes grew more frustrated, more wild. The crowd's laughter had stopped. They watched in silence as this small human made their champion look clumsy. Hana's analytical mind worked quickly. She saw what others missed. "He's learning," she whispered. "What?" Sora asked, the human. "He's studying Kralthorn's patterns. Watch his movements. Each dodge is closer than the last. He's calculating precisely how fast each attack is." As if to prove her words, Taehyun suddenly changed tactics. Instead of dodging away, he dodged toward Kralthorn. He grabbed onto the exosuit's leg joint and climbed. Kralthorn tried to shake him off, spinning and thrashing. Taehyun held on, climbing higher. "What is he doing?" Ari breathed. "He's going to get himself killed." Taehyun reached the back of the exosuit. His hands moved quickly, feeling along the armor plates. He found what he was looking for, an access panel where power conduits connected to the energy core. In the design of the suit, This panel was protected because no enemy could reach it during normal combat. But Taehyun had gotten closer than any normal opponent. He ripped the panel open with his bare hands. Purple energy sparked and hissed. The crowd jumped to their feet. Kralthorn realized the danger too late. He tried to reach back, but the suit's arms couldn't bend that way. Taehyun pulled out a thick power conduit. Energy crackled around him, burning his gloves, but he held on. He jammed the conduit into a different slot, one that fed directly to the main power core. Then he jumped, falling hard to the arena floor and rolling away. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Kralthorn's exosuit began to glow. The purple energy that had covered it like a shield started to burn brighter, too bright. The suit's safety systems screamed warnings. Kralthorn tried to shut down the power core, but the redirected conduit had created a feedback loop. The explosion wasn't large or dramatic. It was precise and controlled, like a surgical cut. A line of white energy appeared down the center of the exosuit from head to foot. The suit split apart, its two halves falling away from each other. Kralthorn tumbled out alive but defeated. His weapons were gone. His armor was destroyed. He lay on the arena floor, unable to continue. Complete silence filled the arena. 10,000 people sat frozen in shock. Taehyun stood alone in the center, breathing hard but still standing. His armor was scorched and torn. Blood ran down his arms from burns. But he had won. The arena master's voice shook as he spoke. The trial is complete. The human champion has won. The crowd erupted. Some shouted in anger. Some cheered in amazement. Arguments broke out across the stadium. Nothing like this had ever happened before. In the royal box, Hana sat very still. Her 4 attendants stared at her with wide eyes, realizing what this meant. By the ancient laws that governed the trial of supremacy, they now belonged to the human. All 5 of them were bonded to Taehyun for life, Your Highness, Sora said carefully. What do we do? Hana watched as medical teams ran onto the arena floor to treat both fighters. She saw Empress Yuna's face on the royal screen, cold and calculating. The Empress would honor the law publicly, but Hana knew her mother. This was far from over. We follow the law, Hana said quietly. We have no choice. Below in the arena, Taehyun looked up at the royal box. Even from this distance, Hana could see his expression. He didn't look happy about his victory. He looked tired and sad, like a man who had done something necessary but terrible. Their eyes met across the distance. In that moment, both of them understood that their lives had just changed forever. The human who had split the Empire's champion in half had just become the most important and most dangerous person in the galaxy. And Hana, princess of the Velkari's empire, was now his partner by law. The medical teams took Taehyun away on a floating stretcher. His burns needed treatment, but he had refused help until Kralthorn was stabilized first. This small act of respect surprised everyone who witnessed it. Warriors who won the trial of supremacy usually celebrated or mocked their defeated opponents. This human showed only concern. Hana and her attendants were escorted from the viewing box by Imperial guards. The walk through the palace corridors felt endless. Other nobles and officials stared at them, whispering behind their hands. Some looked sympathetic. Others looked amused or contemptuous. Being bonded to a partner was an honor when done by choice. Being bonded because of a lost trial was considered shameful. Keep your heads high, Hana told her attendants quietly. We represent the Empire. We will not show weakness. They reached the throne room where Empress Yuna waited. The vast chamber was filled with the most powerful people in the Velkari's empire. Military commanders, noble houses, council members, all gathered to witness what would happen next. Hana knelt before her mother's throne. Her 4 attendants knelt beside her. Empress Yuna looked down at them with an unreadable expression. She was a beautiful woman who had ruled for 60 years with an iron will. Her dark robes shimmered with embedded technology. Her crown was a ring of floating crystal that glowed softly. Rise, my daughter, the Empress said. Her voice carried across the silent room. Today, an unexpected event has occurred. Our champion has fallen to a human. According to the ancient laws of the trial of supremacy, the consequences are clear. Hana stood, meeting her mother's eyes. She saw the calculation there, the wheels turning behind that calm face. Princess Hana and her 4 attendants will honor our law, the Empress declared. They will join the human Taehyun as bonded partners. They will serve alongside him, representing the Empire's commitment to our traditions. Let no one say that the Velkari's empire breaks its word. The room erupted in murmurs. Hana heard the voices of military leaders protesting. A human having such close access to the royal family was dangerous. He could learn secrets. He could be an assassin. The Empress raised her hand and silence fell immediately. The law is absolute, however, she smiled slightly. The human has won the right to these partners, but he has not won the right to freedom. He will remain in the palace as an honored guest. He and his bonded partners will have quarters here, where they can be properly protected. Hana understood immediately. Her mother was turning this defeat into an opportunity. Taehyun would be watched constantly. He would be a prisoner in a gilded cage, and Hana and her attendants would be the ones closest to him, able to learn his secrets. I will serve the Empire in this matter. As in all things, Hana said, formally bowing. I know you will. My daughter, the Empress replied. There was a warning in her tone. You are dismissed. See to your new partner. They found Taehyun in a guest suite in the palace's eastern wing. The room was luxurious with tall windows overlooking the capital city. Expensive furniture filled the space, but Hana noticed the subtle signs. The windows were unbreakable and sealed shut. The door could be locked from the outside. Guards stood in the hallway. Taehyun sat in a chair near the window, his arms wrapped in fresh medical bandages. He had been given clean clothes, a simple gray tunic and pants. He stood when they entered, wincing slightly from his injuries. For a long moment, no one spoke. They studied each other like fighters before a match. I suppose we should introduce ourselves properly, Taehyun said in halting Valkyries. His accent was strange, but his words were clear. I am Taehyun Park, formerly of the Earth Defense Forces. I did not expect to win today. I certainly did not expect this situation. Hana stepped forward. I am Princess Hana, third daughter of Empress Yuna. These are my attendants, Sora, Mina, Ari, and Jiwon. By law, we are now bonded to you as partners. I know what the law says, Taehyun replied. He moved to a table where a translation device sat, activated it, and his next words came through more clearly. But I also know none of you chose this. Neither did I. I fought today to secure freedom for my people's colony, not to acquire partners I don't need. Mina stepped forward angrily. You speak as if this is an inconvenience for you? We are Princess Hana's attendants. We are trained warriors and nobles. To be bonded to a human from a primitive world. Mina, Hana said sharply. Enough. But Taehyun didn't look offended. You're right to be angry. Your empire started expanding into our territory. We asked for negotiations. We were ignored. The trial was the only way to make you listen. I'm sorry you and your companions are paying the price for your empire's arrogance. The room went very quiet. No one spoke to the princess like that. No one criticized the empire so directly. Sora stepped forward, her analytical mind working. You speak our language. You knew about the trial of supremacy and its laws. You studied Crowthorne's armor design well enough to exploit its weakness. This was not luck. No, Taehyun agreed. It wasn't luck. I was a military engineer before I became a soldier. I studied your champion's combat recordings for weeks. I calculated exactly how to defeat him. But I didn't know about the partnership law until after I volunteered. My commanders didn't think it was relevant since they assumed I would die. Ari couldn't help her curiosity. But how did you move so fast? Humans don't have genetic enhancements like our warriors. You should have been too slow. Humans evolved on a death world, Taehyun said simply. Earth is harsher than most planets your species consider habitable. Higher gravity, dangerous predators, extreme weather. My people adapted by becoming endurance hunters. We can't run as fast as many species, but we can keep going long after others collapse. And we learned quickly because we had to. Everything on our world was trying to kill us. He sat down again, looking tired. Look, I don't expect you to like me. I don't expect to like this situation either, but we're stuck with each other. I propose we make the best of it. You want to go home eventually. I want my people to be free from your empire's expansion. Maybe we can help each other. Hana considered this. It was logical. What exactly are you suggesting? A working partnership, Taehyun said. I need to understand your culture and politics to negotiate properly for my people. You need to... I don't know what you need, but I'm guessing the Empress has plans for both of us. Maybe we can navigate them better together than apart. You assume we would work against the Empress, Sora said carefully. I assume you want to survive, Taehyun replied. I saw her face on the display screen. She wasn't happy about the trial's outcome. She's going to use this situation somehow, and we're all pieces on her game board. Hana felt a chill because he was right. Her mother always had plans within plans. This human had good instincts for someone who supposedly knew nothing about imperial politics. "We will consider your proposal," Hana said formally. "For now, we should establish basic protocols. This suite has multiple bedrooms. We will assign them appropriately. Meals will be brought to us. You will not leave these quarters without permission. Is that clear?" "Crystal clear," Taehyun said. "I'm a prisoner who gets called a guest." "You're a security risk who defeated our greatest warrior," Mina said coldly. "Be grateful you're alive." That night, as they settled into their assigned rooms, Hana lay awake thinking. The human was intelligent and observant. He was also right about the Empress having plans. Hana had already received a private message from her mother. Learn everything you can about the humans. Find their weaknesses. Discover their military capabilities. But something bothered Hana. When Taehyun looked at her and her attendants, he didn't see servants or tools. He saw people in a bad situation just like him. That kind of thinking was dangerous in the imperial court, where everyone was a tool to be used. It was also strangely refreshing. In his room, Taehyun also lay awake. He had won the battle but might have lost the war. He was trapped in the heart of enemy territory, bonded to 5 women who had every reason to hate him. Earth's fleet was still waiting for his signal. But how could he send it from this gilded cage? He thought about the princess. She was smart, he could tell. She was also trapped, just in a different way. Maybe his instinct to propose cooperation had been right, or maybe it had been stupid, only time would tell. 3 days passed in uncomfortable routine. Servants brought meals. Guards stood outside. Taehyun and his 5 bonded partners shared the suite, but mostly avoided each other. Mina refused to speak to him. Jiwon watched everything silently from corners. Ari asked occasional questions about Earth but kept her distance. Sora was coldly polite. Only Hana engaged in actual conversation, teaching him about imperial structure and customs. On the 4th morning, Hana decided they needed to establish a real working relationship. She gathered everyone in the suite's main room. "This is foolish," she announced. "We live together but act like strangers. That helps no one. We will spend time each day sharing information. Taehyun needs to understand our culture. We should understand his." "Why should we care about human culture?" Mina asked, her arms crossed. "Because ignorance is weakness," Hana replied. "Knowledge is power. Sit down." They sat in a circle, awkward and tense. Taehyun started by explaining Earth's history. He kept it simple. One species, many nations, long conflicts, slowly learning to work together. Space travel came late for humans compared to other species. They were still new to the galactic stage. "We're not conquerors," he explained. "We just want to survive and grow. When your empire started claiming systems we had already settled, we tried to negotiate. We were ignored. The trial was our last peaceful option." "Peaceful?" Mina laughed harshly. "You killed our champion." "Your champion is alive and healing," Taehyun corrected. "I could have killed him easily when his suit split. I chose not to. My people don't enjoy killing." "Yet you're clearly trained for it," Sora observed. "Your combat skills are impressive for someone from a less advanced world." "Earth is harsh," Taehyun repeated. "We had to become good at survival. And yes, we have wars. We know how to fight. But we prefer not to if there's another choice." Over the following days, the lessons continued. Hana taught Taehyun about the imperial court's complex hierarchy. The Empress ruled, but powerful families and military leaders constantly competed for influence. Every word, every gesture had meaning. Politics was a deadly game where the wrong move could end a career or a life. Sora began sharing information about Velkara's technology. She was a scientist at heart, and couldn't resist explaining how their power systems worked, how their ships traveled faster than light, how their genetic enhancements made their warriors stronger. Taehyun listened carefully, asking intelligent questions. Sora found herself enjoying the discussions despite her intentions to remain distant. Ari asked Taehyun to show her Earth's art and music. He used a tablet the guards had allowed him to keep, showing images of paintings, sculptures, buildings. He played songs from different cultures. Ari was fascinated by the diversity. One species, one planet, but so many different expressions of beauty. "Your people seem very emotional," she observed. "This music is full of feeling. Humans are very emotional," Taehyun agreed. "We feel things deeply. Love, hate, hope, fear. It makes us unpredictable sometimes, but it also makes us human. Even Mina's hostility began to crack. During their second week together, she challenged Taehyun to demonstrate his combat skills. He agreed, and they moved furniture aside in the main room. The guards watched through the door, hands on their weapons, but didn't interfere. Mina was fast and skilled. She had trained since childhood in Velkaris martial arts. But Taehyun's style was completely different. He didn't fight pretty. He fought efficiently, using leverage and timing instead of strength. When Mina tried to pin him, he slipped away. When she struck, he redirected her force. After 20 minutes, both were breathing hard. Neither had won. Mina stepped back, studying him with new respect. "You fight dirty," she said. "I fight smart," Taehyun replied. "In a real fight, there's no such thing as dirty. There's only alive and dead." "Where did you learn this?" "Military training, but also my grandfather. He was a soldier in Earth's last World War. He taught me that strength isn't everything. Understanding your opponent is more important." Mina sat down, accepting a water container from Ari. "My family died in a battle with human ships," she said suddenly. Everyone went quiet. 3 years ago, near the border, a human scout ship fired on a Velkaris patrol. 5 people died. One of them was my sister. Taehyun was quiet for a moment. "I'm sorry, but can I ask something? Who fired first?" Mina's eyes flashed with anger. "Does it matter?" "Yes," Taehyun said gently. "In war, the first shot matters. I've read reports of that incident. The Velkaris patrol approached the human scout with weapons charged. The scout ship was in human territory. They thought they were being attacked. They defended themselves. That's a lie." "Is it, or is it what you were told?" Taehyun met her eyes. "I lost people too, Mina. My younger brother was on a colony ship that entered an unclaimed system. A Velkaris cruiser destroyed it without warning. 200 people died. I wanted revenge. I hated your entire species." The room was very still. "But then I studied you," Taehyun continued. "I learned that most Velkari citizens don't want war either. They don't know what their military does on the borders. Just like most humans don't know what our military does. We both suffer because leaders on both sides make bad choices. The difference is I chose not to hate you for what your leaders did." Mina stood up abruptly and left the room. But that evening she sat with the group again. She didn't apologize, but something had changed. She began asking Taehyun about his brother, about his life before the military. They shared stories of loss. It was the beginning of understanding. Ji-won remained the most mysterious. She spoke little and watched everything. Taehyun noticed that she paid special attention when he talked about military matters or Earth's capabilities. On their 15th night in the suite, he decided to confront her. He found her alone on the balcony that overlooked the city. The guards had finally allowed them access to this small outdoor space, though it was surrounded by energy shields. "You're an intelligence operative, aren't you?" Taehyun asked quietly, standing beside her. Ji-won didn't react with surprise. "What makes you think that?" "The way you listen. The questions you don't ask but want to. The way you position yourself to observe. I was military intelligence before I became a combat soldier. I recognized the signs." Ji-won was quiet for a long time. "Yes," she finally admitted. "The Empress placed me with Princess Hana years ago to watch and report. It's my duty." "What have you been reporting about me?" "That you're intelligent, trained, and potentially dangerous. That you're gaining the trust of Princess Hana and her attendants. That you should be eliminated before you become a larger security risk." Taehyun felt ice in his stomach. "The Empress plans to kill me." "Eventually, yes. After you provide useful information. The Empress honors the law publicly, but privately." Ji-won turned to look at him. "You should know I've been providing false reports, minimizing your capabilities, suggesting you're harmless. I don't know why I'm doing it. Maybe because you're starting to see that I'm not actually your enemy. Maybe," Ji-won admitted. "Or maybe I'm betraying my duty for nothing. Time will tell." That night, time answered. Taehyun woke to a sound he recognized. The quiet breath of someone trying to move silently. His combat instincts, honed by years of training, brought him fully awake in an instant. He rolled off the bed as a blade pierced the mattress where his head had been. The assassin was good, dressed in black thermal shifting cloth that bent light around it. But thermal shifting didn't work perfectly in enclosed spaces with multiple heat sources. Taehyun could see the faint outline. He grabbed a lamp and threw it. The assassin dodged, but the movement revealed their exact position. Taehyun tackled them and they crashed through the door into the main room. The noise woke everyone. Lights activated. The assassin broke free and went for the balcony, but Mina was faster. She grabbed a ceremonial pole from the wall and blocked the exit. Sora activated a security alarm. Ji-won moved to protect Hana. The assassin pulled out a small device. Taehyun recognized it, a thermal grenade. It would kill everyone in the room. He didn't think. He charged forward, grabbed the assassin's arm, and twisted hard. The device flew through the air onto the balcony. Taehyun slammed the balcony door closed. The explosion was bright but contained. The energy shield around the balcony absorbed most of it, but the windows cracked. Guards burst into the room seconds later. The assassin lay on the floor, Taehyun holding them down. Mina's blade was at their throat. When the guards pulled off the thermal shifting hood, they revealed a young Velkaris male, eyes full of hatred. For the Empire, he spat at Taehyun. "You don't belong here, human filth." The guards took the assassin away. The captain of the guard looked at Taehyun with confusion and grudging respect. "You saved them," he said, gesturing to Hana and her attendants. "Why?" "Because they don't deserve to die for someone else's political games," Taehyun said simply. After the guards left and emergency repairs began on the balcony, the 6 of them sat together in silence. Hana looked at Taehyun for a long time. "You could have escaped during that confusion," she said. "The assassin gave you the perfect opportunity. But you stayed. You protected us." "Of course I did," Taehyun replied. "This isn't your fault. You're victims of this situation just like me." Something changed in that moment. Walls that had existed between them began to crack and crumble. They had faced debt. After the assassination attempt, their living situation changed. The Empress couldn't publicly admit that someone had tried to kill her daughter and the trial's victor, but she increased their security. More guards appeared outside. Better shields protected the suite, and perhaps more importantly, Hana and her attendants were no longer required to report daily on Taehyun's activities. "She's changing tactics," Ji-won explained one morning as they shared breakfast. "The direct approach failed. She'll try something more subtle now." "What could be more subtle than assassination?" Ari asked. "Manipulation," Hana answered. "She'll try to turn us against each other, or use us as bargaining tools with the human government. We need to be ready." Taehyun had been working on a message to send to Earth's fleet. The fleet had been waiting in neutral space for over 3 weeks now, demanding proof that Taehyun was alive and had succeeded. But every communication from the palace was monitored. He needed to find a way to reach them without the Empress knowing the content of his message. "I think I can help," Sora said. She had been spending her free time in the palace's scientific library, researching communication systems. "There's an old quantum relay station in the lower levels. It's outdated and mostly forgotten, but it still connects to the main network. If we can access it, we can send a message that bypasses the standard monitoring systems. That would require leaving our quarters without permission," Hana pointed out. "The guards would stop us. Not if we have a good reason," Ji-won said thoughtfully. "Princess, you could request access to the royal archives. Say you're researching historical bonding partnerships to understand how to make ours work properly. It's believable, and it's your right as a princess to access the archives. And the archives are in the lower levels near the old relay station," Sora added with a small smile. They planned carefully. Hana made her request officially, and after 2 days received permission. The 6 of them, escorted by 4 guards, descended into the palace's older sections. These corridors were less grand, built centuries ago when the palace was smaller. Dust covered some of the surfaces. Few people came here anymore. At the archives, Hana actually did research bonding partnerships while Sora and Taehyun slipped away. The guards didn't notice at first, distracted by Mina asking them questions about their training. By the time they realized 2 people were missing, Sora and Taehyun had already found the relay station. It was a small room filled with ancient equipment, humming quietly in the darkness. Sora worked quickly, her fingers dancing across control panels. "The encryption is old but still functional. I can create a narrowband transmission that will look like background noise to modern sensors." "How long do we have?" Taehyun asked. "Maybe 5 minutes before the guards find us. Talk fast." Taehyun recorded his message quickly, explaining the trial's outcome, the bonding law, and his current situation. He gave coordinates for a covert meeting in 2 weeks at a neutral space station. He emphasized the need for discretion, warning that the Empress was watching everything. Sora sent the message just as they heard footsteps approaching. They made it back to the archives before the guards became truly concerned, though the captain gave them both a suspicious look. "Find what you needed, Princess?" he asked Hana. "Very enlightening," Hana replied smoothly. Historical partnerships were often much more complicated than modern ones. "We have much to learn." Back in their suite that evening, they celebrated quietly. It was a small victory, but it felt significant. They were working together now, not as captives and captor, but as a real team with a common goal. "Tell us more about Earth," Eri said suddenly. "Not the wars or the politics. Tell us about the good things. What do you miss most?" Taehyun thought for a moment. "Rain," he said. "Real rain, not recycled water from climate systems. On Earth, you can smell rain coming. The whole world changes when it rains. And coffee. Real coffee from beans grown in soil, not synthesized in a food processor." "We have rain here," Mina said, confused. "It's not the same," Taehyun explained. "Your rain is perfect, controlled, scheduled. Earth's rain is wild. Sometimes it's gentle, sometimes it's violent. You never know exactly what you'll get. That's what makes it beautiful." "Your world sounds chaotic," Sora observed. "It is, but chaos breeds creativity. When nothing is perfectly controlled, people have to adapt and improvise. That's where new ideas come from." Over the following days, they continued sharing their lives with each other. Mina taught Taehyun proper Valkyrus martial arts, surprised by how quickly he absorbed the techniques. "You fight like you're always learning," she said after one session. "Even when you win, you're studying what worked and what didn't." "My grandfather's teaching," Taehyun explained, breathing hard from the workout. "He said the moment you stop learning is the moment you start dying." "Wise words for a human," Mina said, and this time there was no insult in her voice. Sora spent hours talking with Taehyun about science and engineering. She was fascinated by how humans had developed technology differently than the Valkyries. "You use brute force where we use elegance," she explained. "Your ships are heavily armored because you expect damage. Ours rely on shields because we try to avoid damage. Neither approach is wrong, just different." "What if we combined them?" Taehyun asked. "Shields and armor. Elegance and strength," Sora's eyes lit up. "That would be actually quite effective. The redundancy would make ships much harder to destroy." She started sketching designs on a tablet, completely absorbed. Ari showed Taehyun Valkyries' art and music, and was delighted when he found similarities to Earth's artistic traditions. "Look at this painting," she said, showing him an ancient Valkyris landscape. The artist used color to express emotion, not just to show reality. "We do the same thing on Earth. Art is universal." "Maybe," Taehyun agreed. "Or maybe consciousness itself leads to certain patterns. The need to create, to express, to make something beautiful out of chaos. That's not Valkyris or human. It's just alive." Even Jiwon began opening up. One night she found Taehyun on the balcony looking at the stars. The energy shield had been repaired, and they could safely stand outside again. "Do you regret volunteering for the trial?" she asked. "Sometimes," Taehyun admitted. "I knew it was dangerous. I knew I might die. But I didn't expect this. I didn't expect to care about what happens to all of you." "We didn't expect to care about you either," Jiwon said quietly. "I've been reporting to the Empress." "You knew that. But I've been lying in my reports, making you seem harmless. Do you know why? Because you're a good person forced into a bad job?" Jiwon smiled slightly. "Maybe. Or maybe because I finally found something worth being loyal to besides duty. You and Hana, this strange team we've become. It feels more real than anything in my life has felt before." "What will the Empress do when she realizes you've been lying?" "Nothing good. But that's a problem for future Jiwon. Present Jiwon is just grateful to be part of something honest." Meanwhile, Hana was dealing with increasing pressure from her mother. The Empress sent daily messages, asking for detailed reports. She wanted to know Taehyun's weaknesses, Earth's military capabilities, anything useful for the Empire. "Tell her the truth," Taehyun suggested when Hana confided in him. "Tell her I'm well-trained, intelligent, and completely loyal to my people. Tell her Earth won't back down from defending its territory. Those are facts she probably already knows. But she wants me to find something she can exploit. Then find things that aren't true. Tell her I'm arrogant. Tell her humans are easily manipulated by appeals to honor. Feed her false information." "That's dangerous," Hana said. "If she discovers I'm lying, she already knows something's changed. Taehyun pointed out. The assassination failed. Your reports are probably less detailed than she wants. She's suspicious already. The question is, whose side are you on? Hana looked at him for a long moment. In the weeks they'd lived together, she had learned that this human was nothing like what she'd expected. He was kind without being weak. He was strong without being cruel. He treated her and her attendants as equals, something almost no one in the Empire did. I'm on our side, she said finally. This team, these people, that's where my loyalty is now. Then we need to be smart. The Empress is going to force a confrontation eventually. We need to be ready. That night, all 6 of them sat together and made a plan. They couldn't run, too many guards and ships surrounded them. They couldn't fight, they were outnumbered by millions. But they could prepare for opportunities. They could gather information. They could build alliances with other people in the palace who might be sympathetic. There are others who question the Empress's aggressive expansion. Hana explained. Noble families who've lost wealth because of the wars. Military officers who are tired of fighting. Scientists who want cooperation, not conquest. If we can identify them, we might find allies. It's risky, Sora warned. Anyone we approach could betray us to the Empress. Everything is risky now, Mina said. We've already chosen our path. We might as well walk it properly. Over the next week, they carefully began making connections. Hana attended a court function and spoke with several nobles. Sora visited her old colleagues in the science division. Mina reached